Just because you prayed for something and received it doesn't mean that it was from God. Just because a door opens doesn't mean that God opened it. A few years ago, I was working at a company where I felt like I wasn't being paid enough, so I was hopeful that something better would come along. Then an opportunity was presented to me, and they were offering me a lot more than I was receiving at my current place of work. Even though it felt like an answer to a prayer, I must admit that I had a check in my spirit. And as tempted as I was, I ended up not taking it. A few months, maybe a year after that offer, the place went downhill. And I would have been stuck on that sinking ship if I had accepted that offer that looked like it was an answer to my prayer. As discerning Christians, we have to realize that not every door that opens up to us is from God, especially when it comes to things that we have been fasting and praying about for a while. A lot of people have been deceived because they think that the only tools in the enemy's arsenals are things that are bad for us. But not every time sickness and poverty, sometimes riches and glory. Sometimes it looks like what we have been fasting and praying to God for. A perfect example of this is when Jesus was fasting and praying for 40 days and then, boom, the devil comes to him with all sorts of promises. We see in Matthew chapter 4 verses 2-4 that after fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. The tempter came to him and said, "If you are the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread." Jesus answered, "It is written, man shall not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God." Jesus was hungry. He had a valid need. And an opportunity presented itself to meet that need. But that opportunity wasn't from God, at least not in the way that it presented itself. As Christians, it's extremely important that we're able to discern the difference between provision from God and provision from the enemy, as well as opportunities from God and opportunities from the enemy. In Matthew 4, verses 8-10, again, the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their splendor. "All this I will give you," he said, "if you will bow down and worship me." Jesus said to him, "Away from me, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only." The Greek word for worship here is proskuneo, and it refers to the act of paying homage to someone. Worship is a life of submissions, reverence, obedience, and love towards God. But the devil tries to get us to worship him through our actions. This is why Romans 12:1 says, "Therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and well-pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship." So we see there that worship involves presenting our lives to God. Who or what we obey is who or what we worship. The enemy has all sorts of tools in his arsenal, but they are all meant to do one thing, and that is to distract us from fulfilling God's purpose. That was one of the things that he was trying to do by tempting Jesus in the way that he did. The devil is always trying to distract and derail you, and he won't always do it with bad things. Maybe God has called you to serve somewhere, but the devil stays trying to distract you with wealth. He might tell you that you should spend all your time making all this money, and then when you've made enough money, you can use the money to serve God. But that's a rabbit hole that a lot of people never get out of. How much money is really enough? God that sent you to do his will, not provide for that will to be done. Matthew 4:11 says, "Then the devil left him, and angels came and attended to him." Now, I'm not saying that the first opportunity you get will always be a counterfeit. But as Christians, discernment is non-negotiable in helping us discern the difference between doors that God opens and doors that the enemy opens. So we're going to take the next 20 seconds to pray for discernment. Philippians chapter 1 verses 9 and 10 says, "And this is my prayer, that your love may abound more and more in the knowledge and depth of insight, so that you may be able to discern what is best and may be pure and blameless for the day of Christ." If you just said that prayer, type my discernment is sharpened. And I'll see you in the next one.